Welcome to the back to school party. And as I said before, if I only touch one person in this room, then I've done my job for the day, and I think I can feel confident and go about my day and be happy. And again, I wanted to let you know that the upcoming album that I have that will be releasing next year is called No Longer Scared of Life. And it's about my journey. And very importantly, the age that you guys are now, things are starting, your thought process is starting to form. So are y'all ready to go back to school? So we got one that's ready to go. Is that it? Okay, so let's go ahead and cut to the chase. So whether you're ready or not, the morning that you wake up, I think it's Monday morning, maybe Tuesday, the school bus is gonna come, or your parents are gonna drop you off at the bus loop. And when it's time to walk inside of those doors, that's gonna be the beginning of another year of your life. So it's gonna be the beginning of another year towards you becoming that person that you wanna be. At the age you are now, you all say, well, I wanna be a doctor, I wanna be a lawyer, I wanna be a dentist, a preacher, or the president of the United States. Those are people with substance, right? So when I say the word substance today, I want you guys to think of a cup. And Reverend Feleshia kind of pinpointed to this a little bit earlier, but when I say the word substance, I want you to be a person of substance. That means I want you to put inside of that cup being real, being righteous, and being relevant. And we'll get to the definitions of those so that you all know what it means, and how to apply that. I'll teach you. I'm trying to give you some help on how to be successful. So that's why I'm here today. I think I said it before I started, was that God called me and positioned me to be here to give you the advice that I didn't take. Unfortunately, he put me through that path. And now I get it. I went through that path for a reason, because if I didn't have the testimony that I have, I would have no relevance. I wouldn't be, relevant now. So when I say you have to be ready when you walk into those doors, I'm trying to equip you with a thought process that every morning that you walk into that school, you're thinking about what Feleshia B said that day at First Baptist Church. I'm gonna give you some advice, right? I'm gonna do, as the old people say, school you on how to be successful in school. And again, I wanna teach you how to be real, righteous, and relevant. So I keep saying that because I'm gonna want you guys to repeat that. And anything you want somebody to remember, you keep repeating it, because repetition makes people remember. Because I see on Facebook and on social media a lot, everybody's posting the outfits. Ooh, the new Jordans. This is what my baby's gonna wear on the first day of school, Her hair is gonna be so cute. Gonna have a little Hello Kitty top on and whatnot. But the reality is that you can look as good as you want. You can be as fresh, the J's can be as clean as they need to be. But if you lack substance, then you're not on your way to becoming those people that I mentioned earlier, those people of substance, the doctors, the lawyers, the people that are contributing to, every day. So I guess let's just get to it real quick. And I need y'all's participation, my babies in here. Based on what you do know about being real, I want the realest person in this room right now to stand up and make some noise. So we ain't got no real people in here. That's what y'all telling me. It ain't nobody real in here. All right, okay, look, I was gonna make the noise. Okay. All right. So I want to sing the Dej Love song, but I don't think that's gonna go over too well right now. So I'll just skip to the next part. But I think what I'm trying to get to now is that there's a perception of what being real is. The definition of real, and I'll go back to it, is something that exists, that's not an illusion, and it's something that's not fraudulent, something that's not fake. It's real. And I want all of you to know today and remember that you are a child of God. And that's what makes you real, not what's relevant. So sometimes relevance, as we look, is something that's like a trend. It's something that's pertaining to a topic or something that's current or popular. And I want you guys to know that the only thing that can really make you relevant is being a child of God, because, we got Fatty Wap now. He's relevant. Beyonce, she's relevant. But sooner or later, Fatty Wap his song gonna be old. It's gonna be somebody else that's coming in. But one thing that always remains relevant is God. And God sending his son Jesus to us to die for our sins. So being relevant in the back of your mind does not need to be following a trend, following a crowd, following a group. But your relevance needs to be, I am a child of God. And always revert back to that. So, have you guys ever heard of the expression serious as a heart attack? Yes. I'm sure you have. And I get choked up sometimes when I start talking about this, but that's how serious I am about standing right here, right now. Speeches don't write themselves. I can't just get up here and say what I feel. I have to study a group. I have to know who I'm speaking to. I have to know, what their needs are so that I can help fulfill somebody. But that's how serious I am, because when somebody's having a heart attack, you don't laugh or joke or, wait and waste time. You get right to the remedy. And my life has now been positioned for this. So everything that I say to you today, it's well thought through, things that I really hope that you could benefit from. And again, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you today is because somebody was standing in front of me when I was, a young kid, and they were doing the same thing, but I didn't take the advice. And I'm so serious when I talk to you kids and I say, please listen. Please remember what I say. If you only remember 3 words, real, righteous, and relevant, being a person of substance, then I think, I've done my job too. I made a righteous decision to come here today. And again, I want you guys to understand the definition of righteous. As Reverend Feleshia said, righteous means that your actions in your life are pleasing to God. The things that you do every day would be pleasing to God if God had to come and grade you. So you heard of what would Jesus do? That should be on your mind. And if it's something that you don't think Jesus would do, then you probably shouldn't do it. And for me, it's taken me over 33 years to become a woman of substance. I've looked to par for many years. I drove the cars. I had the jewelry. I had things that would make people perceive me as a happy person, as a secure person without insecurities, as a person, that knew how to treat other people. But the reality is that was an illusion. And remember what I said about the definition of real. Being real means it's not fraudulent. What you see right now is real. I am wearing it all. I'm wearing the hurt, I'm wearing the damage, I'm wearing the baggage from my past, and I'm using that for God's glory. So, it took me a long time because I made real stupid mistakes at the age that you guys are now. So a lot of mistakes that I made started in school age. Because when you go to school, you have all of these influences. You have all of these people around you that are doing all of these things. And you are young and you want attention. And in order to get that attention, you go to the extreme sometimes to get it. And what you don't realize is that those behaviors become habitual. Those people that you hang out with that aren't any good for you, they become your environment. And then eventually, the habits and the environment combine together, that becomes your life. So I want to do some preventive maintenance, and I want to prevent you guys from, making those same mistakes. Now is the beginning of your thought process. I know it sounds crazy because you're probably looking at me like, what is that old lady up there talking about? At the age you are now, if you start developing a thought process that's real, righteous, and relevant. You're living according to the way God would be happy. You don't have any option but be successful. You really don't, because God is going to make sure that good things happen in your life. I mean, we can't control, some things that are going to happen in our lives, but it's a fact. At least it's proven in my life that when I decided to listen to God and do things that I know God would be pleased with, good things started to happen in my life. So I want to talk about when I was younger, and I'm hoping this is not too over the top for some of the kids, but my problems all started when I entered middle school. So anybody here that's entering middle school later on, I think it's a good time for you to listen. So when I got to middle school, I can remember I could go either way. I could go left or I could have went right. I had church as a solid background. I sang in the choir. I was in the band. I played basketball. I was very involved. And again, my need to feel popular superseded everything that I had learned up to that point. So the cool kids, which was an illusion, it wasn't real. The cool kids were skipping class. The cool kids were getting high. The cool kids were having premarital sex. And I wanted to be.
I said middle school.
Yeah, at middle school. Then again, I keep saying that because that doesn't make you cool, but that was an illusion. And when you get to middle school, well, when I was in middle school, and it's the reality. I mean, it sounds harsh, but I mean, it's the truth. And so anyway, the kids, they're doing these things, and I wanted to be popular, so I wanted to do those things too. Never did it, because my mind was too immature. I was too young. I didn't know enough yet. I thought I knew it all, but I didn't know enough. So I said, I want to do what they're doing. I want to be part of the cool crowd. So I started hanging out with the wrong people. I started doing things that I shouldn't have done. And it wasn't until really late in my life that the light bulb flicked off. And by the time the light bulb flicked off, it was kind of late. Because what I started to notice was I had a temporary high. I'm doing all of this shenanigans in middle school. It was a middle school high. Things that I was doing there is no longer relevant anymore. They on to something else. Okay, so now let me go get my high school high. And then high school things get real serious because, we're older, we're closer to adulthood, and different things are available to us. So I got my high school high. And at the end of my senior year, that's when I said, whoa, my life is jacked up. Because what happened was, I didn't focus on my grades. So my best friend, she got a scholarship to a really good school. I lost my best friend because my grades were so bad that I couldn't get accepted to the same schools that she got into. I was losing relevance because nobody really wanted to be around a person that's doing the kind of stuff that I was used to doing anymore. They were looking at me like, you girl, we don't want to be around you. You causing trouble. And another thing that now that I can look back at it, I know that it was a bad situation was that I was hanging around people that had destroyed my family. And I was somehow thinking that was okay. The same people that were selling crack cocaine to my father, who I love, were the same people that I was making friends with. How can you get to that point? You get there because you go into middle school, you don't practice being a person of substance because you're going in the opposite direction and you're doing what you think is cool, and then your environment becomes your environment and your behaviors become your habits, and then there's your life. I fell really, really far behind. And so, all of a sudden I wasn't popular. You're not really a popular person when you're having run-ins with the police and you're a girl. You know, it gets that deep. Like some people say, well, we don't have to worry about that. My daughter's not going to get involved with police, you know. It happened to me. My grandparents would have never guessed that they would be picking me up from a police station, you know, and I would be helping to traffic drugs back and forth. You know, they wouldn't believe that about me. But my middle school year was the year that I was introduced to that. And if you don't have that in the back of your mind, then you could easily get lost, because trust me, it's out there. Kids come home and they look a certain way, they're seeing it somewhere. And now with social media, it's even worse. And so now I can only look back and wish, you know, that I had done things differently. I wish, you know, that I had kept my virginity, you know, until marriage. I can't change anything about it, but I wish I could have, because it would have made me a, you know, a better woman. And there are a few things that I want to share with you in order to be and remain real, righteous, and relevant. The first thing is you have to know God. So you're in a perfect place. So you have that. I think each one of you at least know who God is and what God did, and you know about Jesus and how God sent Jesus here. And you probably know about 10 commandments. Maybe some Proverbs wouldn't hurt, you know, to read a little bit of Proverbs to learn how to live. But you have to know God, and you have to know what God recommends for your life, because that's going to always be on the back of your mind. Because anytime I'm ready to curse somebody out, because it happens, you want to do it. I'm not a saint. Anytime you want to do it, in the back of your mind, you got to say, you know, God probably wouldn't be real happy if I did that, so I'm not going to do it. You also have to have a willingness to be a good person. I mean, you got to want to be a good person. So for the kids, you know, you don't want to be that person that's bullying people at school. You want to be that person that's going to help somebody. You don't want to be that person that's going to ignore what the teacher is saying. You want to be that person that's going to be attentive, and you're going to respect your teacher and your authority, because as you get older, authority is going to always be there. And of course, we all know that there's a theological connection with authority as well. You have to also have discipline. It's important in this school year that you guys set goals for yourselves. Make straight A's. Be a part of the Student Government Association. Something. But you have to have discipline. And whatever you decide to do, you know, you have to make sure that you have a plan and that you keep moving towards that. Very important, next one, is you have to have the ability to make wise choices. Choices, choices, choices. The state of your life at any point is going to be directly dependent on the choices that you make or don't make to get there. And again, I want to add to that note that choosing your friends. Now is when you choose your friends. I chose the wrong friends. And when I was in my 20s, that's when I realized that, because you might think I'm lying, but I would say 30% of the people that I hung out with are in jail for life. 30% of them, you know, those were the wrong people to hang around. You know, and you don't want to be that way. So the people that you choose on Monday when you go, if they're not person of substance, if they're not people of substance, if they don't know God, if they're not real, righteous, or relevant, let them go. Let them be cool over there in the corner by themselves, because this is the beginning of your thought process. And this is the beginning of the rest of your life. So, and you know, I also wanted to go towards like the social media-ness. So this is about the 3 R words, real, righteous, and relevant. How would you guys feel if you saw Jesus on Snapchat or Instagram posing? You know, how would you feel? Would you feel that Jesus was relevant because he's doing that? Would you praise him and respect him like you do if he did things like that? Probably not. Let me answer that. You would not. You wouldn't look at Jesus as one of the most influential, most powerful humans or spirits that came through this planet. And the reason I say that is because I want to introduce to you the importance of having knowledge about social media. So, social media is the easiest way for anybody to create an illusion into their life. You know, you see pictures on Facebook and Instagram and everybody's smiling. Take 10 pictures just to get that one good picture that you can post up. So be very mindful, and I'm looking over here at the older kids when I say this, be very mindful of your social media activity, because I was looking at trends as I was preparing for this speech. And the trends are saying that there are companies that are getting paid millions of dollars now to create applications and software that is querying all of this social media data to be utilized for discretion on you getting a job later in life. So like when you guys are in your early 20s, you know, mid 20s, you're gonna be going and you're gonna apply for a job, a career. They're gonna have tools that go back into a database and look at your social media profiles, and that's going to be basis for your worthiness of employment. You know, and I think it's very mindful to know that when you send a text message, it's archived somewhere. I mean, in the political world, they're having a lot of conversations about that now. Are we going to continue to archive all of this data? We don't have storage for it, but it's going to be somewhere. So even when you send a text message, you need to be asking yourself, am I being a real, righteous, or relevant person? Am I being a person of substance? Because it doesn't go away. And it's archived for a very long time. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I don't want, you know, you to get caught up in the world of tweeting and all of this. It's fun, but you know, it could definitely ruin your life. So I guess to put things in order of importance is when you go to school this year, I want you to be very focused on who you choose as your friends. Be very selective of the people that you allow in your circle. You know, it doesn't always have to be the person that's the most popular. You just have to make sure you're checking to see, is this person living the way that I know I should be living? Some things are going to seem very fun. Things are going to seem very fun, the things that you can't do right now. But trust me, when you get of age and when you know, do things the way God wants you to do it, things are a lot better. My life is so much better now. So I want you guys to choose friends wisely, have discipline. I want you to set very high academic goals for yourself this year. Go in and say, I want to make straight A's, and work hard to do that. And make sure you say to yourself, I'm not going to fall victim to the crowd or to what's considered relevant. Because like I told you, the only thing that's relevant forever is that you're a child of God. Your relevance should be directly related to being a child of God. And being a child of God means that you're going to have substance. And what did I say substance was in that cup? Being real, being righteous, and being relevant. And most importantly, respect your parents. I know my grandma used to share that Bible verse with me, and I didn't believe it. I was like, she said, respect your parents and your days on the earth will be long. And I was like, that's not true. You know, I didn't believe it. But if you believe in karma and if you believe in God, then you also have to believe in the principles and the repercussions of not doing what you're supposed to do. And now, so respect your parents and also respect the people around you. Just try to be a good person this year. So I want to give you some definitions, and this is the knowledge that I want to leave you with so that you know what I'm saying when I say these things. Real, like I said before, is something that exists that is not fraudulent. And what I want you to be is a child of God. So if you're being anything other than that, then you're not being real. Whatever you're doing is an illusion. temporary high. It's a temporary satisfaction, something that's not going to be long lasting, it's not going to benefit you. And now I want to talk about righteousness. And thanks to my fiance, we had a good discussion about this over dinner as well. This is the more theological reference to being righteous, but that your actions are justified and they are pleasing to God. That's hard to do. It's very difficult. Some people stand in front of pulpits and they make it look really easy. I find it hard to do. But when you have discipline, you can do it. You set your mind to it, and you can be a righteous person. And then relevant, again, I want you to be relevant to being a child of God. Don't worry about the trends. Don't worry about what's popping, what's hot right now. Just focus on being a child of God, and trust me, when you're my age, you'll be light years ahead of me. If only I had done what I was supposed to do, no telling where I'd be now with all my ambition. So, when you walk through the door for school, and I'm about to wrap up, guys. When you walk through the door of school on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it starts, can y'all make me a promise that you're gonna promise yourself to fill that cup with being real, which is directly connected with being a child of God. You're gonna be righteous. You're gonna live in a way and in a manner that is pleasing to God. Everything that you do is gonna be pleasing to God, and that you are relevant as well. And like I said again, to being a child of God. Don't fall victim of the trends and what you think is popular. Don't get pregnant. Be the person that's gonna move to higher heights by doing the right thing, sacrificing and just do the right thing.